Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you are doing well. And today we're talking about some Star Wars news. So first, let us talk about how Disney is now considering splitting Star Wars into two films, Episode 9 and Episode 10. Now the reason why this rumor is going around is because it was recently talked about that this is going to be the longest Star Wars film ever made. Apparently some comments from J.J. Abrams have confirmed this. And so a lot of people are now speculating, could it be long enough to justify them trying to break it into two films? I have a lot of different thoughts on this process, but actually, let's read the article itself on WeGotThisCovered.com, which apparently is a site that covered this story from MovieWeb, and we already know how great of a site MovieWeb is. So, with filming on Star Wars Episode 9 now underway, we're receiving more and more details about the movie that will close off the modern trilogy of the saga. Recently, we learned that a heap of legacy characters will be returning, including Lando Calrissian, Luke Skywalker, and even General Leia, thanks to the use of pre-recorded deleted footage in the place of the late Carrie Fisher. Again, this is stuff that we already knew about the casting. I'm kind of ambivalent towards this because until they're able to fix the major plot and narrative problems that were caused mostly by The Last Jedi, you could also extend it back to The Force Awakens to a smaller extent. I don't think anyone's going to deny that it is The Last Jedi that really brought too many of the problems, at least from an objective narrative standpoint. But even with all that being the case, I just don't think these characters, having them in the movie, is going to be enough at this point because of all the damage that was done. What's more, there's also lots of newcomers on board too, including Kerry Russell, Naomi Ackie, and Richard E. Grant, who could be bringing a fan-favorite villain from the expanding universe to life. So the new rumor now is that, what is Richard E. Grant? Is he going to play Thrawn? Are they going to bring Thrawn into the movie? And then once again, I say, I'm kind of ambivalent toward it. I'm 3 chapters away from finishing book 2 of the Thrawn trilogy, which is fantastic so far. I love the characters. Thrawn is a badass, but at the same time, I don't really know how to feel about this because I look at the current state of Star Wars. I look at the people who are running Star Wars. I look at how little they really care about what the fans really want. They have very little care for fan service in a very real way, because just look at what happened in Last Jedi. They just basically gave the reins to a guy who had no idea what he was doing as far as writing is concerned, because I even admit he's not a very good writer, and they decided, oh yeah, let's make him the middle movie. Let's give him the middle movie of a franchise and see what happens. And of course we can blame Kathleen Kennedy because she's the one at the top saying, oh, this is a script? Well, okay, it makes sense to me, even though it doesn't make sense to anybody else. But again, I don't think this is quite enough yet to bring people back. The people that were pissed off because of Last Jedi, the people who've been pissed off continuously because the same people, Rian Johnson, Pablo Hidalgo, etc., have come out to attack these fans, to attack the fans' criticism and to call them man babies and racist and all these other things. So this is continuing, and it's going to keep on continuing as long as these people keep making these statements, but also it's going to continue as long as the story does not truly reflect what the fans want to see. Almost any franchise, any person that runs a franchise knows I have to make the fans happy, because if I don't, I'm not going to make money. If I make a story about Buffy the Vampire Slayer and instead I focus on a random obscure character for 4 or 5 episodes, I'm going to lose a lot of viewers. So if I take a Star Wars movie and instead of focusing on Luke Skywalker like we promised the fans and we lifted up the fans and we kind of teased the fans in that way after the end of Force Awakens, and instead we give someone who's not even close to being the character Luke Skywalker, and then on top of that we don't explain how he became the character, I'm sorry, but you're going to piss off a lot of people. As you can see, again, Solo is a very good indicator. There's some people say, oh, that's not a very good indicator because Solo is a totally separate film. Yes, that is true. There are many factors that led to Solo failing, but you cannot tell me that if Episode 8, if The Last Jedi was an amazing film, you cannot tell me that Solo would have still lost money. Because even if it was not looking great, even if there were some behind-the-scenes issues, people would have still gone to support it because it's a Star Wars film. People did not do that, which is why it's losing $200 million. Also, of course, we have, and let's not forget leads like Rey, Finn, Poe. Oh, those are the ones that we care about. Those are the only ones that we care about now. And all of whom are expected to undergo some major plot developments. Not at least Finn, who will be sporting a new hairstyle. Really? I want to see this. Oh, John Boyega? Finn's going to have a new hairstyle? We care about this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? It went away. What is this site? How come I can't zoom in? What's going on with the site? Oh my goodness, but you can kind of see it. He's got a little bit longer hair. Oh my god, that's so cool, right? Oh, Finn's gonna have long hair. Yes. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. All in all, then it looks like Episode 9 will be packed. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with your site? All in all, it looks like Episode 9 will be packed to the rafters. So it's packed to the rafters, really. Is it though? is it really? So it's not really a surprise that rumors point to it being the longest entry in the Star Wars franchise to date. A specific runtime isn't being tossed around as yet, but according to MovieWeb, it's apparently sizable enough for Lucasfilm to be considering splitting the installment into two, meaning that this film has to already be roughly 4 hours, which is insanely long. And here are my overall thoughts, because obviously it just goes on to talk about, the films in general and how other films have split into two as well. But here are my, I don't want any of those videos playing. My thoughts on them splitting into two are both negative and also good at the same time. It's good if they're splitting the movie into two because they need to address and fix the problems of The Last Jedi. Then I'm fine with it. Go ahead and fix those problems. Please retcon most of those things, including hyperspace ramming, which, as we mentioned in previous videos, just does not make any damn sense from a narrative perspective. So retcon those things and then make episode 10, the second part, an excellent film. The film that JJ probably had planned from the beginning. Now, again, some people might still not like that because they didn't like The Force Awakens. I personally am one of those persons where I will still stand by The Force Awakens as it originally came out. Was it perfect? No. But was it a fine, fun film, a fun way to get back into the Star Wars universe? Abso-damn-lutely. Now, of course, The Last Jedi was made and kind of ruined all of that, but if they were able to retcon 8, or at least make 8 bearable, which the only way to do that is to either say Luke was a clone or that Luke, it was all Force stream, etc. Like, there are ways to justify it, because then when you watch the film back, you can say, oh, well, now I know none of this is real, or none of this is real, none of this matters, though I don't think anyone was still going to want to watch it because of Rian Johnson's attacks on the fans. However, I think that most people would support that if that's the reason why they're doing it. Now, if they're doing it, this is the reason why it might be bad. If they're doing it, if they're splitting the film into two in order to make as much money as possible, in order to try and to stretch out the film process, that could be catastrophic for Disney. Look at Solo. It lost $200 million at the box office. I was already saying, if episode 9 was one movie, it would already be hard enough for them to break that $1 billion. If you split it into two films and people know that it's two films going into it, that is going to affect the numbers. That is absolutely going to have an effect on the numbers. And at that point, I would say it's a lot more likely that each film probably grosses around $650 million at most, which some people say, oh, that adds up to over $1 billion. But to have two films that should be the biggest and best films of a franchise not do as well as all previous installments, that's not a good thing. So that's why it could be a good thing. Again, as long as they are trying to stay focused on how do we get the fans back? How do we correct the mistakes of The Last Jedi? If that's the case, then I'm all on board. I would love to see two films. I would love to see a film where J.J. Abrams is literally just saying Rian Johnson's idea was stupid. Obviously, he wouldn't actually say that. He would still show his respect for the film. But if in the story it was like, no, that was wrong, this is what actually happened, I would be okay with that. I would enjoy that. I would find great joy in that. And then if episode 10, if the second part was them actually continuing the story that he set up in the very beginning and after all the retcons in episode 9, then I think that would be something that most people would want. Again, I might be wrong on that. Let me know if you're not one of those persons. So again, if you're a person that would not like to see it broken up to two, if it means that the first part is retconning 8, please let me know in the comments if that's not enough. I know there's still a lot of people out there who are just so over Star Wars, who are done with it. And to me, that's the reason why they have to go with that first option. They have to go with the retcon option and break it up into two, because if they don't, they're just going to continue to have these people who have no interest in Star Wars because of everything that happened, everything that's been happening over the past year or so at this point. They're not going to bring those people back. And then the people who are teetering on the edge, like me and like so many others, are essentially going to be pushed off if they just keep saying, nope, episode 8 is canon, we're not changing anything, and we're going to keep going forward, making two films to try to get as much money out of you as you can. At that point, then, you're going to push even more people away. So that's what I think is most important about this. And then one more piece of news from Star Wars and Disney specifically. Star Wars Disney confirms which movies will be on the streaming service, which is none of them that have come out. So basically, they've confirmed at this point that there will be no movies that come out. No movies from Star Wars. No product from Star Wars until 2019 and later, because of the deals they have with Netflix and because of the deals they have with the Turner Broadcasting Network. That is awful. So when they go live in 2019 with this service, they're not going to have any of the Star Wars films. Not until episode 9 comes out. That's the only film that's going to go on there until 2024. That's awful. What are you going to, like, so basically all they have to sell the service on, at least from a Star Wars, but obviously Disney is a very vast, corporation. It has many properties. Just look into the deep Pixar lineup. I don't think any of those films have ever been featured, or at least in a significant way, on other streaming services. I think there have been a few that have been on Netflix, but it'll be interesting to see how long those contracts are for and if they try and bring those back. But as far as Star Wars go, if you're going and you're trying to sell, if you're Disney and you're trying to sell the Star Wars streaming service to a Star Wars fan, if you're trying to sell either the Disney streaming service to a Star Wars fan, then you have nothing to offer. You have, eventually episode 9 will be on there, and then eventually we'll get the other Star Wars films coming on. And then you have the new Clone Wars series, which is not enough. Again, I've talked to a lot of people. They're excited for it, but it's not enough to make them want to buy another streaming service. And then, of course, you also have the upcoming Star Wars series as well. The first one, of course, being the one that was discussed with Jon Favreau coming back, bringing one on there. But also something interesting is that they made very clear that there will not be any rated R movies on the service, which makes me ask the question too. What is the movie, or rather what is the series starring, or rather creatively starring the people and the minds behind Game of Thrones on HBO? What are they going to be allowed to do? Because a lot of people were thinking maybe if they were able to bring that edginess of Game of Thrones to the Star Wars universe, it could be really, really good. Now, of course, I do not expect them to try and bring any nudity or anything like that, but at least some harsh language or at least some violence. I don't know. Basically, it looks like Disney is going to try and stay family-friendly all the way through, and I'm wondering how much that might affect what they put out as a product. But guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that Disney is just like... to me, Disney's just not doing well at this point. At this point, they have nothing, at least from Star Wars perspective. They don't have anything to offer for the streaming service until 2024 when all those other properties become free. And then, of course, now we have this, two film split that's going to be happening that could be good if they do things right. But based on what we've seen, based on what has been said, there's really not a whole lot of evidence that they're actually doing any of those things. Of course, they're keeping a lot of things close to the chest, so who knows? But as far as I know, Kathleen Kennedy is still in charge. No official announcement has been made on that. As far as I know, Rian Johnson's trilogy is still on. No announcement has been made about that. So until they're able to address those issues, I don't think that's going to be enough at this point to bring people back. But as I said, if they retcon 8 and they break 9 and they break the last episode into 2, 9 and 10, that could be not only good for them financially in the future, because then they'll be able to sell the 10-disc set or the 15-disc set of all the movies with all the special features, which could be really damn cool. But it all requires them, and it all hinges on how do they handle the episode 8 dilemma. Because whether you agree or disagree, whether you like the film or not, because as we said in the previous video, when I talked about storycraft, you can still like the film, just like you can still like a character, but you cannot deny if that character is poorly written, or if that movie has a bad screenplay, or if that story doesn't make any sense, because those are objective standpoints. And you can like a film, that is subjective, but to ignore key realities, especially when it comes to a narrative perspective, those are things that you cannot ignore. And so, are they going to handle those issues? Are they going to address them in episode 9 and maybe even episode 10? Who knows? We'll keep an eye out as always. We'll keep, our ears open, and hopefully we get some more concrete news about what's going on very soon. But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? What are y'all thoughts about it being 2 films? Is that going to be enough for you? Do you think it's just a cash grab? Do you think that they're actually going to try to do something a little bit better? And also, what are your thoughts on the streaming service and not having any Star Wars films, at least until 2024, with the first one being episode 9/10 possibly? Let me know in the comments below. I greatly appreciate that, guys. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me out so much, and I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.